everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Swagcast. Today we have a special guest. We have a longtime student of the martial arts, a father and host of the Chewing the Rag podcast. What's going on, Chris? How we doing?
I am tired, but I am here because I said I would be, and I'm a man of my goddamn word.
We'll get into why you're tired later. However, I wanna get into like we are gonna get into your content. We're gonna dive into the
Yeah.
podcast and stuff, but there's some other like kind of like ladder steps to you as well.
Yeah.
And I want to get into that stuff. So I want to like jump back a little bit, and I want to talk about like martial arts. I want to talk
Okay.
about what you train, when you started training. So can you bring me into like the beginning when you first started training, not when you were fighting your friends in the backyard.
Yeah, I'll bring it back. So my uncle, we've talked about him, but my uncle was a bit of a psychopath growing up, and he was one of the first people I knew that when he said, "Do you want to come over and watch the fights?" He wasn't talking about boxing. This was when UFC was like just started popping off. I'm talking like late 90s, early 2000s. I'm only 31. So like, the sport's fucking pretty much younger than me. It's my age. And he was the first person I knew that when he said, "Do you want to come over and watch the fights?" It wasn't boxing. That used to be how everybody referred to boxing, but you would go there and you're seeing the early days of the UFC. If you go back and watch it now, it looks like it's from the fucking 70s. The camera work is so like it's just not this big production that it is nowadays. And when I would say I did like karate. I did the basic little kid shit. You do karate and stuff growing up. And then I got away from all that. And when I was about between 13 and 16, there was a gym right down the block from me, a couple blocks away. Walking distance, didn't need a car. And there was your gym with all your weights, all your equipment. There was a boxing ring in the back, and then there was a little side room, and you could smell it. Like, that smell when you go into an MMA gym, a jiu-jitsu gym, just the mats, all that smell. And I was like, I poked my head in. Somebody I knew from high school was in there, and I was like, that's what I want to get into. And I didn't take it serious. It was mostly just like a workout for me. I never thought about competing. But realistically, I started out in MMA. I didn't do the whole like jiu-jitsu separately, and then it was like, oh, MMA sounds cool. I didn't even fucking wrestle in high school because I was one of those weirdos that was like, I'm not wearing a singlet. Like, I talked about this last night on the pod, but I don't know why. I don't know if it was just like that fake macho bullshit, because you're just like you're a boy, you're hormonal, you're growing into your body. It feels weird to put a singlet on.
All right, all right. I've talked about this before. Like even at like my age, I'm 27.
Mhm.
Like the sport of like jiu-jitsu and like wrestling. Like we're talking strictly wrestling right now.
Yeah,
Especially high school, you're wearing a singlet. Like
yeah,
shit's kind of sus. And like then the shit you're doing, like you're not hitting people with chairs like we see.
yeah.
You're shooting doubles and taking people's backs and trying to like rip them to put them on their backs. Like you want to put other men on their backs while wearing tight singlets. It's sus. It's all sus, and that's
It's a sus thing, and
I understand why you wouldn't want to do it as a young man.
yeah, I wish like now I have a son. I wish like I had somebody in my ear like put that shit aside. Nobody even gives a fuck that you're wearing that. You know what I mean? Like
Part of the sport.
the people that give a fuck they don't know the sport. That's okay. But like, so being a father, I want, if my son wants to do wrestling, I'm now that voice where it's like, dude, I get it. I felt weird, but like, just do it. It's pretty much it's a work uniform. Like that's all it is. Nobody gives a fuck.
Sometimes I'll be at jiu-jitsu and we'll turn into a wrestling match, and I'll be like,
Mhm.
yeah, I wish I had a singlet on. They'd have nothing to grab. Two, I would not be this hot. Like it's been like 90 degrees all the last like month. So like yeah, I'm dying in that gi. That singlet would be clutch right now. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
the singlet is very very beneficial to the sport as well. Like when you look deeper into like yeah, you just everybody can see your bulge. Like it's not that bad. Like I wore a singlet in January. Like it's not that bad.
Like, and even now, like, you know, I had friends that were wrestling when I was in school and stuff, and like, I didn't look at them in any sort of light. I looked at them like you're a bad motherfucker. Like, you try to wrestle a guy that has wrestling experience, and you think you know something, and the room's spinning, and you're on your back because you just fucking got flipped, and it's like, that's a bad motherfucker. Like, put that singlet shit aside, bro. It's fine.
Yeah, nah, that literally happened to me. However, recently. But so you, how old were you when you first stepped into the MMA gym?
I would say, I want to say 15, 16.
All right,
And
and you've
I'm
been training.
31 now.
Okay, so you have like 15 years of
It is weird to put
MMA
it like that.
experience.
Like,
So,
it's a long ass time. I'm very on and off,
hmm
for the past, like, I would say 6 years. I just kind of pop in. I'm not really steady, but like, yeah, on and off. I've accumulated definitely over 10 years, which is insane.
all right, so when you started the sport, it was 2005, 2006.
Let's see.
Is my math off right
Here's
now?
here's where math.
2010.
Yeah, it was like 10. It was like, because I was still in high school. I was in high school, so like, 09, 10.
So,
That's
all
when
right.
I started.
So, so the differences of MMA then
Oh,
and to now,
oh,
uh, and but not just in the sport, in the gym culture.
yeah.
Um, like back then, it was very more like you're at this gym training. And
Hmm.
you're only at this gym training. The
Yep.
gym down the street, those are our ops. Like can you kind of like talk about like the gym culture and like you only being like 15, 16, 17, like getting thrown like right into that gym culture and like kind of like going from there, like it
Yeah. So
kind of describe your first like 3 4 years in the sport.
yeah. So it was a weird thing because, like I said, I didn't really do organized sports. Like, the only sport I gave a fuck about was that, and it wasn't because I didn't even think about a cage fight. I didn't even think about boxing. I just looked at it as, this is fun. Like, I can hurt somebody, they can hurt me, and we like it. Like, it's fun. That's the only reason I wanted to do it. And you're right, because back then I would have never thought. My coach, his name was Orlando. I would have never thought to go to anybody else but Orlando. And and even as an on and off thing, I still was like, that's my fucking guy. Like, that's who I'm loyal to. I went and saw my barber today. Just, that's my guy. That's how I looked at him. Like, I would never. I don't want to go to your fucking jujitsu school. I don't want to.
I know we're talking about MMA, but real quick, I want to butt in on the barber thing. I've been going to my barber since I was 13,
Yeah,
and
dude.
not only has like he seen me grow up, but I've seen him grow up too because he
Yeah,
used to be a
dude.
cokehead and in jail every 3 months, and we would have to wait 4 months to get a haircut because he'd be in prison, so we have to wait till he got out because we weren't going anywhere else. But now he's a family man. He got the second kid on the way. Hasn't done cocaine in
Hell yeah.
years. Been out of jail. He's that guy now, and we're still going there. So like yeah.
Hell yeah.
Continue on your story.
But like, that's just that loyalty type thing where it's like, I would have never even thought to look at another fucking gym, except, oh, what the fuck? It might have been Atlas off the top of my head. I don't remember for sure. They had a like cage in their gym, so we would go with them so we could use their cage because we only had a
Okay.
boxing ring.
Yeah.
That was it. Like, we would go with them, use their cage, do a little cross training there. But if they didn't have that cage, I don't know if I would have ever even fucking shook a guy's hand at that gym. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
it was more of like a, we understand you have this and we will be hospitable toward you. At least for me. Maybe those guys didn't feel that way at all, but that's just that weird, like, I gotta be loyal to this guy thing. Whereas now, the gym that I go to is right down my road. It's like 2 miles away. And if I can go there and he wouldn't get offended if I went to like a Muay Thai gym around the corner as well, it's a completely different culture. Except there's like one gym around here that I feel like one of my teammates is just beefing with as a whole, which is insane. I'll get into that in a little bit, but
So yeah, no, the culture's flipped completely. I
Completely.
obviously wasn't training back then, but I hear stories from so many guys that are much older than me telling these like stories of when they got into training and like starting at my gym, like I know it's only jiu-jitsu, but like he encourages you to like gym hop. Like he
Yeah.
encourages you to go get working with everybody in the state because he's like, if you can beat everybody in the state, like you want to know that you can do that. Not everybody's going to
Hmm.
be in the tournament and stuff like that. So you started MMA with like no desires to like actually compete. Um but you end up eventually competing.
Yep.
Can you like talk about like the build up to that? How old were you when you competed? Like kind of go dive into the details here for me. Like give me like the first year building up to the fight, what was going through your mind, and then like 6 months, and then when you actually took it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like what kind of shape were you
Yes.
in?
Yeah. So, like I said, I started about 2010, 2011. I didn't really do anything. That gym closed that I was going to.
Okay.
So we were doing like, road work. We would still meet up, run some stairs, hit mitts, but like we didn't really have a location. So I kind of strayed away from them for a little bit, took a break, didn't really train. Just I had a heavy bag and a weight bench. That's it that I would do. And I had one guy that I would work out with in a yard like 3 days a week. So nothing at all for getting ready for a fight. I didn't even have the desire, but my friends were fighting. So I went to go see my buddy fight in Rochester, New York, and my cousin was on the same card. Did not know that. Did not I had no idea he was going to be on that card. And I'm not going to lie, he looked like shit. Like he I know he says he trained, my uncle says he trained, whatever. Same uncle that I was referring to earlier.
Uh,
So I know he was probably training because I know that that guy takes it serious. But he comes out and he's doing that thing where you don't want to get hit. You're like mummy walking, your hands are straight out, you're just trying to close distance. It doesn't look like you're comfortable at all. And this guy gets my cousin's back and he throws an elbow, completely illegal. Just
mm-hmm.
throws it backwards, hits him in like the liver, shuts him down. He gets a win, whatever. And that's when it clicked in my head. I was like, he looked bad and he won. I could do that. Like, that's what I was like, I could do that. So I messaged the promotion and they said, "Do you have a gym?" And I was like, independent right now. And they were like, "Okay." And they let me do it. They let me sign up as an independent fighter. I had my uncle and that cousin corner me.
Uh,
And yes, they cornered me. Didn't train with them once.
oh,
Did zero training with those guys.
did you
I
train though?
dropped.
Like what was like the
I
training build up for it?
Yeah, so I was about probably 250, 255.
Okay.
I said, I'll do light heavyweight, 205. And this was in May, I accepted the fight. In August was the fight.
Oh, so you got
So,
time.
yeah, I got time. I could drop 50 pounds easy. And I did. I made weight. I weighed in at 204. And literally, my training was I had a garage. It was like 100 fucking degrees in there. I hit a heavy bag for an hour. I would lift weights. I would run. And 3 days a week, I would meet up with my buddy, military guy, strong guy, has like competition experience. And we would do grappling one day, striking one day, and then an MMA day in my buddy's backyard. No gym, just that's all I did from like May to August. And I didn't look good. I lost all that weight. The weight wasn't there, but I looked like a sack of shit. I looked out of shape. You could tell like this guy rolled off a couch. He was not experienced. And my opponent was shredded from a reputable gym. And they knew that. They come on now. You didn't know that you were setting me up with a reputable fucking guy.
I mean, there. So like I'm gonna let you finish in a second, but
Yeah.
like look, like there's guys like that in MMA that like
Hmm.
they look like Butterbean, but they're used to like put other fighters over just to get their records going,
Yeah.
and that was you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was definitely me. I mean, these guys were like they sponsored events. Like their gym sponsored the events there. Their gym had a merch table there. Their signs were everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, motherfucker. And they're not bad people, They're trying to get their guy you see, hey, he's just a debut guy. You're a debut guy. What's the big deal? And I'm like, fuck it. I didn't know what he looked like. He's never had any fights. I didn't know what I was getting into until I weighed in. And when I hugged that motherfucker and he felt like a tree, I
What
was
did he
like,
weigh
oh,
at?
oh. He was 205, 204. Like he did his job. He cut in. And he
204
was
cut.
just he was cut. And it's just a strong mother. Like when he
Fought a
patted my
young
back
Francis.
and I felt that, and I was like, oh. And he wasn't like, he wasn't big, but he was just like really. I called him a neo-Nazi action figure. He was this bald dude, strong, shredded. Like he looked like, I don't know, dude. And he whooped my ass. 26 seconds. That's after that fight. That's when I was like, let me train, because I sold tickets. People came to this event, and when I tell you they drove 5 hours, because where I am to Rochester is 4 to 5 hour drive, and they're like, "Oh, he's been training. He took the fight. Let's go see what he's got." I sold probably 10 tickets. Those people came. 5 hour drive. 26 seconds. This motherfucker beats me.
You put butts in seats, like you told.
Hey, I
tickets,
can
it's
I
not
can
bad,
sell
like-
I can sell a motherfucking event. I'll do that. I can do that, baby.
That's crazy though. What was the finish?
So I think I was just super excited early on, and he got me in a clinch.
Early
hip
on, it
toss.
only lasted 26 seconds. That's all
Hey,
you
baby,
had was
10,
early on.
10 seconds is early on. I didn't get to settle, so I got in, and like I just was visualizing other amateurs that I saw. Everybody's like patient, and like it was a stand up fight. I can do stand up. This motherfucker hip tossed me, gets me down, ground and pound, TKO. I was good. Like I was covering up, but it's your debut fight, bro. Like you need to do something more than cover up and squirm. Like I'm gonna stop it, and he did. So TKO, ground and pound.
All
Yeah.
right, that's tough. So, all right, so after that, you debut as an amateur, and you get your ass whooped, 26 seconds.
Whooped.
And you said that that's when you were like, oh fuck, I gotta take this more seriously. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming you did have another amateur fight.
I did. I had a amateur fight. I had a couple kickboxing like exhibition things, nothing crazy, and then a grappling match. And my next one, I was in shape. I felt good. Still 205, but I was like, this was probably, like I said, 2015. So 2016, I took the next fight, and I trained my ass off at the gym that I can still go to this day and walk in with those guys. They're all my teammates. And trained my ass off for that. Had a great game plan. Knew what I was going to do. Motherfucker. This loss, I actually hate this loss more than the 26-second ass whooping, because I did all the right things until I didn't. Like, bro, when I tell you, hold on.
So what do you mean by you did all the things right until you did it?
The game plan was he's a bigger guy. Get him against the cage, tee off on him. Let's just end this shit. Cool. I can do that. We go in. We touch gloves. Open up with a leg kick. Part of the plan. Because good. Hit him with a leg kick. Get him against the cage. Okay, this is where we're supposed to be. My brain, I was like, that was fucking easy. Like, I'm stronger than this motherfucker. Let's do this. I double unders, drag him to the center of the cage. What are you doing, dumbass? Everything we talked about out the window, because you did everything right. Got him where you wanted him. Then you were like, nah, fuck that. You're a little guy. Like, you're weaker than me. Bro, when I tell you, I dug my heel into the canvas when walking backwards with double unders and fell backwards and brought him on top of me. Like the clumsiest fucking mistake, bro. He gets on top of me, ground and pound again. I'm like, I've been here before, but now I have training, so I'm good. Like
Yeah.
I get out of the ground and pound situation. I make a mistake. He gets my back. Like I said, he's a bigger guy. He's lankier. He was taller and longer than me. Rear naked choke. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm trying not to tap. He gets the tap. I was like, God, like I would run that one back right now. God damn it, because I know I was better than you. I'm just a moron,
Yeah, that underhook, double underhook situation,
dude.
falling straight back is like
That's insane. Like, bro, what do you mean you tripped? What? What?
so.
That's a bad movie.
So there's a move where it's called a lat drop where
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
My
get it,
coach thought I was trying to lat drop that motherfucker.
but you don't go underhook, you go overhook,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
and
goes.
you only need one.
So after that fight, he goes, "Were you trying to lateral drop? We didn't even like. That wasn't even a part." I said, "I wish I could tell you that's what I thought I was going to do there." No, I explained the story to him, and he goes, "If I told anybody in that arena to put money on a guy tonight, you were my surefire. Oh, he's gonna walk through this guy, and you did everything right, and you fucking trip." I was like, I should have just lied and said, "Oh, I just didn't know how to lat drop, but I was going for it."
You can do so many things with the double unders too. You could have turned your hips
Dude,
in. You could have came across.
like, I don't know why in my brain I think it was just like a cocky thing. Like I said, I got him to the cage with no problem. I felt way stronger than him, so it was just like, let's go back to the center. Let's fight. And like, why wouldn't you just let go of him then and go to the center and fight? Like if that's really what your brain wanted. But when you're in there, it's a weird thing. Like some people have it, some people don't. Some people are lucid, they're locked in, everything they know. I'm not that guy. I'm not one of those I see red people, but I am one of those like I'm having fun. Let's just do it. And definitely not the plan, and I fucked that up.
Yeah, no, I feel that I can lock in, but it's got to be after like a couple losses. Like
Yeah,
another
yeah,
like
yeah.
boss fight. I can't. The lock-in's gotta like be inspired.
Hmm.
Speaking of inspiration, I kind of want to take like a complete 360 now,
Let's do it. Yeah.
and I want to jump in the content, and I want to talk about what inspired you to start the podcast, and kind of like take me from like when you first started the podcast, like before it, getting the
Yeah.
equipment, like take me into all of that. Your inspirations.
Yeah. So years ago, this was 2018, I want to say. I was going to just start a pod and I was getting into stand up comedy. So I bought like a mixer. I had like a shitty laptop and I named the pod. I got a logo made up. I did a couple like episodes that I don't even know if you could find anymore. And then I was like, this isn't really, let's just stick with stand up comedy. So I'm doing stand up and my buddy from like high school, middle school, lived around the corner from me. I didn't realize that. He goes, "Yo, you're in this town? So am I." And I was like, "Oh no shit." And he goes, "Would you want to start a podcast?" Because somebody he knows has a podcast. And I think he just wanted to like, get in the game. And it didn't really work out with me and him. We did a couple episodes, but it got to a point where like I was going all in. It was my PC, my Mac at the time, my mic, um, my like fucking Focusrite. Like I was putting in all this shit, and it'd be recording day, and not to shit on him, but he would text me like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna make it today," and it's like, not only recording day. If we were recording at 4 o'clock, I was getting a text at 3:50. Like, bro, you can't text me 10 minutes before an episode like that. So that ended, but I was having so much fun doing the pod that I was like, I'm just gonna go independent. Like I'm gonna start a whole new podcast up, get guests. Like I have enough friends who do enough cool shit where I can kind of start off with them and then go out, find guys like you, find fighters and shit like that. Like I know I could do that. I could talk to a fucking Rubik's Cube and then get it to open up to me. I could talk to anything, anybody. So like it really came from stand-up comedy though, because I love making people laugh. I love telling stories. I love being on stage. But my son was born, and for me, I was like, I'm not making money doing stand up. Like that's for the love of the game. I'm not trying to be out until 2 a.m. at an open mic or at a show come home, wake my son up, wake my wife up. The dogs are fucking losing their mind. I can't do that. How do I still entertain motherfuckers? And it's like, do that shit from this chair. Like, I don't need to be out in the streets to do that. So it really came from wanting to stay creative, stay funny, tell stories without needing to like be that guy who's out on stage and whatnot.
So how long did you do stand up?
I want to say it was very short. It was like a year and a half, 2 years, because like when I started getting into the thick of it, he was born. So, like
Okay.
she got pregnant, he was born. So I was like, oh, I can come back after he's born. And I was like, I really can't. Like I could now if I really wanted to, but now I'm doing like the content and
So
shit. Like
your
I'm
son,
completely fine with
so
that.
your son was born like 2021 ish.
2019,
Oh,
2019.
okay. I was
So
about to say, was your son a
because
COVID baby? But
kinda in a sense, like, so when did I start stand up? It had to be 2018. So not 2 years. It was like a year and like 4 months probably. So a year and a half,
yeah.
year and a half. Um yeah, no. And it was like
So were you
it
like?
was
I know you're from New York too. I'm sorry
mhm.
to cut in real
No,
quick,
you no, good.
but so you're from New York too. Were you going out to like the city to do
Yeah,
stand
I
up?
did I did 2 shows in the city. I
Okay.
did a show in Connecticut. Um like I was bouncing around. Me and my buddy started producing shows. Like we got a little spot in our hometown and we would have like 4 or 5 comics come once or twice a month and come tell, and it was a free show. Like anybody could come. We'd pack the bar. We were doing like a really good job with that. And then, obviously doesn't give you that in-person laugh. It doesn't, you don't know if you're doing a solo episode, at least you don't know how people are reacting to it. You want to say you're doing a good job and you're just fucking hoping you're nailing it. But there is nothing like being on stage and getting that. Even the bombs are good. Like
Yeah.
even
Nah.
I love bombing. I don't give a fuck.
That's crazy. I've never heard a comedian say that. I don't think I've had a comedian on yet, but I'm good friends with a beginner comedian in New York City. He's from Rhode Island. He moves to Connecticut, which is like an hour away from New York, but he was
Yep.
still like I went to go see a show with him one time when he lived in Connecticut, and this is crazy. And so I drive up to Connecticut, and we take the train from Hartford, and we go to somewhere in Connecticut. I don't know if it was Hartford, but we get to
Okay.
the city, and then his show's at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. So he goes on. It's a bunch of open mics guys. We actually saw somebody bomb. He came on. He said 2 lines. He forgot like the rest of his set, and he just left.
Yeah.
And I saw him outside like hours later, just smoking a cigarette, just like, nah, fuck that place. I'm that guy, like just talking about shit.
My God.
However, so the show ends like 9:30, 10, and we go out. We go clubbing, and we're out till like 4 a.m. And then we hop directly back on the train and shoot right back to Connecticut. And then driving home, he's got work. And like, so like I understand the struggles of like the beginner
Yeah.
comedian because I did it with him for a night. Thankfully, he now lives in the city, so he doesn't have to do all that train stuff. And
Yeah, that's huge.
He is still doing big things. Shout out Antonio. However, so how do you kind of take like your sense of comedy, because writing stand up acts are tough,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
turn it into podcasting?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for me when I first started stand up, I was just trying to be like edgy. I was just like not in the sense of like it's not funny, but I was trying to turn an edgy thing funny, not pulling from like realistic things that have happened to me, anything like that. And then it's weird. It was an audiobook. I didn't read shit, but I read Kevin Hart's book and he talks about that. And then he talks about how somebody kind of talked to him and talked him into telling stories from like real life and like make your real life shit funny. And I was like, bro, I got stories from real life. Like I grew up in a fucking fucked up situation in my household. Like I can do that. So I started doing that and getting laughs. And I was like, oh, okay, like that I'm seeing that. And now on the pod, it's really just I'm telling those same stories without necessarily making it funny. Like people are just getting an inside look at like what I did, how I did it, growing up, like fighting in my backyard. Like we talked about, my mom stealing fucking Christmas trees around Christmas time so we could have a real tree, like all all that type of shit, and just shit like that. So it all comes from a real life spot. My comedy came from a real life spot, and so does this. So it actually was a very easy transition for me, luckily. And I just love conversation and shit like this. So when it comes to having a guest on and hearing I like hearing people's stories,
Mhm.
and then I can relate to those stories, bouncing back with my story. So luckily, it was a very easy transition.
Okay, so you transition into the pod and you start bringing guests on, and some very valuable guests as well. You start bringing all of these guests on. Kind of explain like how the grind of getting the guest and kind of the
Oh man,
hustle and
yeah,
turning into eventually kind of going through a run of just solo episodes.
yeah. So you know as well as I do, like we're doing this shit alone. Like we both work full-time jobs. We're editing, we're doing this. Like I know you've got guys that'll listen to every episode and they'll like tell you like that shit's whack, that shit's not whack. Like, but like for the most part, we're still the ones behind this, editing, doing all this shit. And it's tough because these guys that you're trying to get a hold of too, like they also have full-time jobs and their schedules might not match up with yours. So it's a constant like, can you do this day? Can you do this day? Yo, I gotta move this day. And women especially, I had Melissa Amaya on last night. We talked for like 2.5 hours. But like getting a female guest because of guys who just slide into fucking DMs all the time, unsolicited, and like are just constantly shooting their shot, bro. I know you know the struggle. It's like they don't even want to open your fucking DM because they
Bro,
don't know what kind of guy you
Bro,
are.
I slid into Macy Barber's DMs on 3 different social medias. Like,
Yeah,
like I'm
bro.
trying to get Macy Barber on the pod. Nothing else. Like, I know people say sick shit about Macy Barber and
Yeah,
that Macy
dude.
Barber's fine, but I'm just trying to chat with Macy Barber on podcast things. Also, the worst, I've slid into like DMs like Gina Valentina. Like, can I
Yeah.
please get you on the pod? Like porn stars and shit. So like they're also used to weirdos too. And like
Yeah.
I'm just trying to chat, man. That's it. I'm
That's
not a
all it
weirdo.
is. That's all it is.
I'm only a
I
weirdo with the
said that.
boys. That's it.
And I said that like, she's married, I'm married. Like we're talking about our marriages and shit. And I was like, that actually came up where it was like, dude, I'm glad you even like answered my fucking DM because I understand it sucks, but like guys are fucking weirdos sometimes, and I get that. We are not good people as a species. I mean, women, you bitches suck too for the most part, but like I'm just saying, from a DM standpoint, I get it. Like I don't know if I was a woman if I would ever check like my spam inbox or anything because I'm not trying to see just random dick pics and shit, dude.
If I ever got an unsolicited dick pic, I don't know what I would do. And this, I'm not gonna say his name, but there is a creator that like I mess with. That's the homie, and like he gets unsolicited dick pics all the time
Yeah.
because he's a part of the community, and he gets
Yeah.
dick pics all the time. And he's always like, yeah, you're lucky, man. You know, just off the straight, like you're not getting dick pics, right? And
No.
I was like, all right, whatever, that's cool. And yeah, so you know that shit
But
does
like,
happen. But
yeah,
like, yeah,
to
man,
get
it's tough.
so like outside of like that, I still have a job to do, right? Like I want to grow this thing. I want my content out there. You might not have a guest this week. You might not have a guest this next 2 months because your schedules just aren't matching up. They're going to come. But it's up to me to be like, I still got to motivate myself to get up there, and you're going to have to do solo episodes. And maybe you might repeat a story. There's somebody listening that probably hasn't heard it though. So like, don't beat yourself up on that. And then I'm a dad. I like when you have a son, there's a new fucking story every week. Like, so you kind of I always have some sort of fresh thing to talk about, even if it might not be the most exciting. And I also, with guests, my episodes are like anywhere from 1.5, 2.5 hours sometimes, apparently after last night. But with my solo ones, I'm aware that this shit isn't as exciting. So I cut it to like 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, like I see. It's weird because I do live streams alone and
Yep.
I go for hours, but I wouldn't be able to do a solo podcast just because like I got ADHD. I'm gonna rope circles. I don't really
Yeah.
have like base topics that like
Yep.
I
Same.
base anything on. I would just be rambling about nonsense. So like that's why even if like recently I had like Wolfpack on again and like
Yep.
I called it kind of like in homies episode because like I didn't really have an interview prepared. I did ask him some questions, but like it was more of like just a hangout sesh, like just
Yeah.
like and like
Hell yeah.
that will happen more because like the guest is tough to like get
Yeah.
a brand new
It's
guest
very,
every single
very
week.
tough.
It does get hard, especially like with working 40 hours a week and then streaming like about 30 hours a week and then that's 50 hours that's wait no that's way more than 50 hours that's 70 hours right there
You're past that.
then,
Yeah.
and then I'm tired and then I'm like sleeping 5 hours a day and that doesn't mention all the editing I have to do for shorts and the podcast and then I have to DM people and I still have to eat like like all that shit's hard to like keep track of. So like
It is.
but you've recently like started like a new grind and like you're just like nose deep and you've been having like back to back to back like fire guests.
Yeah, dude. You're like, you were a part of it this week. So I banged out 3 episodes this week with guests. Your episode's out. Check that out if you want to get a different perspective on things. You can check that out. And then I had a guest right afterwards. And then last night I had another. And those guys, like you and I are Eastern time. So like our schedule was pretty easy to link up. Those guys, one was Central and one was Pacific. So she's 3 hours behind me. He's 1 hour behind me. So she says, let's do 6 p.m. That's 9 p.m. for me. I got done recording at 11:30. So like that's another thing. I've recorded with somebody in Hawaii. Like there's time zones and shit too that really come into effect. And I was really lucky this week where everything just matched up and I had 3 fucking weeks worth of episodes banged out and I was like, hell yeah. Like that shit felt fucking good. I don't have to do a solo episode
Bro,
until next week if I don't want to.
The way I came into this, like doing it, I was doing like I was recording like 2 a week on my day off, like every week, and I was doing that until I got to like episode 8, and that's when I started like kind of like not really running out of like homies to interview, but more like taking shots. And like when you're just like constantly taking shot after shot after shot, and some of these people are busy too. Like King Diaz, it took me 3 months to get him on. Marshall, it was like, bro, Marshall was like almost a 4-month wait. Like I got my ass whooped and then like started the podcast. Week 3 of it, I was like, yo, would you want to come on the podcast? And he was like, absolutely. And then he didn't come on for months. Like everybody came on before him, but like he's just a busy guy. And then people like but then people like I Game You Watch or like Roy Season. That was kind of like I just kind of like slid into their DMs and they like immediately messaged me like right back and like guys like that or Nabality. Nabality made me wait too. Nabality is a little prick. Nah, I love Nabality, but no, I was just kidding. I love Nabality, but like talking to those guys like that inspire me too. Like I'll get off with a content creator and I'll be like, oh shit, that's how it's done. That's something I'm doing wrong. And like every week's been a learning process with like week 3 having the worst audio in like YouTube podcast history and like coming to now, like it's all a growing process. Can you kind of like go through how you like grew with content and like talking to like viewers that, or I'm sorry, talking to
you're good.
talking to people that may like inspire you to like change it up or like do other things or go into another direction. I'm in yapping
Yeah,
mode right now.
so nah, you're good. Yap away. That's my shit. I love that. No, we when I started this thing, I had a single monitor because it was a Mac, and I used the webcam that was on the Mac. And originally I wasn't even gonna do video, and I was like, fuck it, let's do video. And yeah, just seeing these people take it, getting a webcam even, and just their quality, I'm like, oh, the quality on this video, like my side blows dick. Like my side sucks. This guy's side is fucking sick. Like, what do you use? And he goes, oh, I'm just using like a whatever fucking model webcam. And I'm like, I'm gonna do that. And then my Mac was so fucking outdated where it was like, I gotta upgrade. So I got a PC and I threw another monitor on. And it was just little things like that. Started putting shit in the background instead of just having a fucking gray wall, a blank wall, or even like I started doing when I started out, I used a really shitty virtual background of just the logo. So like, and I talk with my fucking hands, I'm always fidgeting, and your arm would disappear and shit in it. And like little things like that, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm not saying it has to be this fucking grand like thing, but let's make it look like you give a shit about it. Let's make sure it sounds like you give a shit about it. So like I love just going to my first episode. I'll never watch that bitch, but going to that and then just looking at the side by side, I'm like, all right, we're doing some shit right. Like, and like you said, it's just guys who've been even streamers. They have good advice because they've been talking to people constantly and reacting and shit like that. Like everybody gives you a little bit of advice, and whether or not you take all of it is one thing. But everybody has something that they can give you on how they balance it, edits, anything at all.
Yeah, bro. I talk to so many creators, like, and like I just it's good to have so many creators. I don't want to say in your back pocket, but like be able to like just like message people
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Wolfpack or like or like iGame or Prioxis or like people like that, and just be like, dude, do you have any opinions on this or that? And bang boom, I usually get an answer from like anybody I ask questions to, and
Yeah, of course.
like that's really like the art. And I like to help other people too, like like for example, one of my buddies just started like uploading some of his stream clips on YouTube in like video form, like reaction videos, and
Okay.
I gave him a couple suggestions that started working even better for him. And shit like that, right? Like just helping homies out
Yeah,
and getting help in return, and like it's like a never ending cycle of like we're all trying to eat from the same
that's
table,
what I think. Like, I think that's the cool thing about all of this shit is like nobody gives a fuck to be like better than anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like you did my pod, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm coming to do yours too, motherfucker. Like it was all about. It's just like being a source for somebody, whether it's to have on an episode or just be like, yo, I like what you did in that video. How'd you do that? Anything at all. Just the stupidest shit to like the most grand shit. And I like that. I'm not here to fucking compete with anybody. Like I'm just talking into a camera. Who the fuck am I? You know what I mean? So I love the fact that you brought up the sense of community and everybody's there for you, whether it's they can answer you right away or they get back to you in 2 days, you're gonna get some sort of answer from them.
Yeah, no, I'm horrible with DMs. Like if you DM me like you DM'd me 3 days ago, and I responded this morning.
Yeah, bro, it's fine.
like I'm a villain in the DMs because like I have so many. Trust me, my phone's always blowing up.
Mhm.
I'm linked to every social media, and I get notifications for everything. And it might not just be for me; it might be somebody's live notification.
Yep,
Somebody
yep,
posted a video. Somebody did
yep.
this. So I have hundreds of fucking notifications, and the only app that I live on is like Twitter, and I never
Yeah.
open my DMs because I'm in seven group chats,
Yeah, right.
whether it be MMA group chats or like WWE group chats, or I'm in a fucking AEW group chat. I want to fucking jump off the roof, but like that's just the life I chose to live on Twitter, and
Yeah,
so I never open my DMs unless like I have to DM somebody and I'm like
right.
checking it for the next hour or like something like that. But yeah, nah. So what are kind of your moving forward? Like, what are your future plans with the pod? Do you have future plans for any other content? Like some
Yeah.
IRL things? Like, what's going on? Let me know.
Yeah, so as far as the pod goes, like this week was super inspiring to me. Like I'm not that guy where it's like, oh, I was so blessed, but like it felt really fucking good to like have these people come on and like complete strangers, fucking 7-0 fucking professional woman fighter gave me 2.5 hours of her time yesterday. Never fucking met me before in her life. Like that's dope to me. So like it was definitely inspiring in that sense where it's like I want to make sure I'm not being lazy with the pod. Like that this week really like just motivated me. And then I'm doing live streams as well, YouTube only. I'm not doing anything on Twitch or anything, but I'm just playing video games a couple hours a week just to kind of grow a little bit outside of the pod, and I'm going to make sure it's condensed to a playlist because I'm looking at my YouTube now and it looks a wreck. You're like, is this guy a fucking streamer? Is he a podcaster? And it's like, I'm just chewing the rag. I'm Chris. I don't know, dude. I do whatever I want that day. So I'm gonna compile that into a playlist. As far as IRL content, for me, it's like I've had people ask me to do like reaction videos and shit like that. So I don't know how much of IRL stuff I'm going to do just because IRL to me is my like time away from the screen and away from my phone and computer and fucking webcams and everything else. So I don't know how much of that I'll do. As it grows, I'm not gonna rule anything out ever because one day I might just roll out of bed and be like, let's go fucking live stream from the gym. Like it's like you never know with me. I get ideas and I just act on them. I don't think.
That's exactly how you have to be as a content creator. You just gotta like take something and roll with it.
Hmm.
That's what I've been doing for the last couple months, and it works for me. And that's what you're doing now, and it's working for you. Do you have any like you want to shout out your socials, like tell people where to follow you? Is everything chewing the rag now?
Yeah, everything's chewing the rag. So your best bet is I have a website. If you just go to chewingtherag.com, that has all of our platforms where you can listen to the pod, TikTok, social medias, all that's right on chewingtherag.com. So you go there and that's where you find merch, fucking episodes, platforms. We do it all over there. Discord. Discord, I'm not as active as I should be. I'm hoping as people, as I branch out and talk to all these guests and they go to that website, I'm hoping we start something up on Discord.
Yes, yes. So go to his website, go smash all those links, hop in the Discord, check out the live streams, and we are also going to be continuing the posting every single Wednesday, and we are also on every single platform now. I can't remember if we said that last week. I think I completely forgot to say that. But no matter where you're listening, Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube, or if you are a lifelong Swagcast YouTube listener and you prefer another platform, you can now listen everywhere. Just only video is available on YouTube at the moment. Only video on YouTube. However, it's audio elsewhere. I meant to say that the other way around. But nevertheless, I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.